Yo, guys, welcome to the About Wellbeing podcast, episode 27. Big flex, Robbie.
Big flex.
Yeah, my man. All right, what's good? So, in this episode, what I'm actually doing for you guys is Rob has been one of my clients this year, and we have just gone through some crazy, hectic transformation stuff. It's been really good. And what I wanted to do was I'm pulling together a group coaching thing at like the end of this year for people to jump on. And I wanted to give you guys some sort of experience and insight into what we're actually doing. So Rob has an awesome story to tell as well. And some of these things in here with the coaching, we're going to be talking about some things that could be some huge takeaway for you guys. So even if you don't jump on part of the coaching and you're just happy listening, take some of the things out of this that we're going to be talking about and apply them into your life, because it can be extremely handy for that. So apart from this, just give a little insight into Rob as well. He's also been on Survivor Australia, and that was like a huge significant event of your life. Hectic. And then started this year, he kind of sought me out to get him lean, and I was like, oh dude, I don't really do like meal plan stuff. My things are a bit more like neck level, high performance, elite, optimized human being type stuff, because we want to be there. And Rob obviously wanted to be one of those people, and he embodies that, and he's living that at the most today. You're taking the absolute best out of that at the moment, and I'm extremely proud of him. And Rob is one of my closest mates today, and I'm extremely proud to say that. Also, with these things, just saying is me and Rob have a really good relationship, and I do recognize that I have had some impact on his life. So if we're talking about some things and I'm coming across as a little bit just like playing it off, it's because we completely recognize and acknowledge each other, and I'm asking him the questions as best as possible to get into some of the stuff. So I'll express as much gratitude as I can for him, because being a part of my life as well, you have brought in some epic things into my life and helped me grow as well. So this is a two-way conversation. So Rob, firstly, let's start off with the backstory as to why and how you sort of reached out to me, and the first kind of things that of where you were. Who were you sort of when you reached out, and what was the initial intentions?
Well, just before we get into that, I want to say thank you, Corey, for having me, because I'm super pumped to be on this podcast. You're doing wonderful things. I just can't wait to tell my story to your subscribers and just give some knowledge back. Yeah. But I guess I came to you maybe 8 months ago.
Yeah, let's start about
so. I went through some growth after Survivor, and that was pretty hectic, to be honest. Yeah. And then I got sort of
Tell us just real quickly the biggest thing that you learned and grew from Survivor. Just give us some insight.
Mental resilience, man. Mm-hmm. Like when you put into an island where you can't contact your loved ones, your friends, and, competing against all these people that are backstabbing you, And I was so naive. I was such a trustworthy person, I thought everyone was my friend. I was like, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm such a caring person. And then watching it on TV unfold, and you're like, oh, don't worry, like she's good, like she's my friend. The next thing you know, they talk shit about you. You're like, what?
Just Benji with the vote.
Benji obviously just throwing me under the bus. The one thing I learnt was I'm a very caring, naive person when it comes to it. Like I see the best in everyone, and that's not a bad trait to have. Yeah. But it does burn you sometimes. So I guess what Survivor taught me was, take everything with a bit of pinch of salt, sort of put your emotions aside. And understand sort of the information and the sort of aspect of what's actually going on, not to sort of believe everything. So that was pretty insane.
Yeah, and I see that in you as well. Actually, that when you just said that, then it clicked to me. I was like, yeah, you definitely have that trait. Yeah. So after Survivor, initially, why did you reach out? What were the intentions? All the rest of it.
So the reason why I reached out to you, Corey, was initially to get shredded, right? Post Survivor, I went through a crazy roller coaster of emotions. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. Would I pursue fitness?
You went down the blues.
I went down hard, man, because with that you get put on a pedestal, right? Everyone loves you, everyone does this, and you're
in the limelight.
The tension's there, and then just goes like that, and then you're like, well, shit, what do I do now? Like, how do I keep all this external validation, external fulfillment? Like, how do I keep being loved? Because everyone wants to be loved, everyone wants to be liked. So I'm just like, what the fuck's going on?
You got addicted to that.
Addicted, You're getting 70 inboxes a day, everyone's sending me pictures of everything, man. I'm seeing everything, man. It's hectic. But then,
I've seen your dick pics for days.
Man, I got way too many of them.
And from both genders.
From both genders, yeah. It was a crazy time in my life, and it was a great time in my life.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, in that roller coaster of emotions, you sort of just looking for the next fix, I guess. You know, you're addicted. It's like a drug. And then Ninja Warrior reached out to me, and I was like, shit, there's another 5 minutes of fame, you know? And so I was like, well, I need to get shredded. I need to look the best for Ninja Warrior. I need to be the most physical specimen possible. Literally only thinking about the aesthetics of things. So word got around that, you know, Corey Bout was pretty good at what he does in Adelaide. So I consulted you, man. I was like, you know, you're the best in the business. So it's quite funny though, when I initially consulted Corey, I was like, hey man, look, applying for Ninja Warrior, I need to be peeled. And then Corey goes, all right, well, if you're going to do my program, you're going to be doing, you know, meditation, journal writing, you're going to read books, you're going to do like all these things. I'm just thinking like, where's the meal prep? Where's the gym program? Like, where's the calorie deficit? Like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Yeah.
And he's like, you look, man, if you're going to be under my wing, like under coaching, you're going to follow my rules, and it's not just about diet, it's a holistic approach to health and well-being.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why I'm so pumped with this podcast, because there's a lot of people out there which probably just want to get shredded and look good. But the way you transform my mind is, like, I'm getting shredded naturally just through a healthy mindset, a holistic approach to health and well-being. And yes, I still want to look good, I still want to perform well, but it's not a external validation anymore. I'm not doing it for other people. I'm trying to be the best person I can be. And you've opened up my mind to that. You're the catalyst to basically grow internally and externally. And I'm super pumped, man. Like, you did so much.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for saying that. So as we'll get into some of the start stuff, what was it like at the start for you doing the initial things that we had in the program? Do you remember?
Yes, I do remember, because it was hard.
Yeah.
It was extremely hard because I've never done that kind of stuff before. I've always been, you know, brutal workouts, you know, eating a calorie deficit, you know, the whole chicken and broccoli. I did keto diet. I did all that kind of stuff. And then you're like, all right, Rob, you're going to be doing 1 hour like walks, clear your head. You're going to write in the journal. You're going to meditate. Man, meditating. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? I don't meditate, man. What is this?
So what were your first experiences like doing each of these things? So what was like the first thing when you first had a moment when you were walking, when you first had a moment when you were journaling, when you first had a moment when you were meditating? Do you remember those things?
I do remember them quite clearly. And it was unease. I was like, why am I doing this? A lot of uncertainty. I was like, is this me? Like, I just want to get shredded. So that's kept banging my mind. Like, why am I meditating? Like, why am I trying to do this stuff? And my mind, as you obviously know, meditation sort of grounds you and it makes you think more clearer. And, you know, my mind is battling because all these emotions are going through it. And it was so uneasy to go onto that side, to grow internally. And it was really, really difficult. And there was anxiety there.
Yeah.
There was stress there. You would think anxiety and stress from meditation. Shit, yeah, man. Like, the first meditation, I was like, what is this? What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And there's so much angst between this whole new routine and a whole new holistic approach, which was overwhelming. Overwhelming is the right word.
Yeah, you really had to kind of face off on, I guess, the dark side of yourself.
Correct.
And sort of open up to, I guess, the open side of yourself and really get into it like that. So what was, I guess, what were the biggest struggles at the start? Because we did 2 programs, right? So we did the first one.
Yeah.
So we'll go into that a little bit because that's how you kind of just like cracked open and you were like, boom, let's get into it.
Yeah.
What were the biggest struggles at the start?
The biggest struggles at the start was saying no to people and discipline. So me going through this journey with you, obviously you have to be quite disciplined and quite committed to the program. And I was like, shit, yeah, I want to do this, right?
Stack schedule.
Yeah, stack schedule. You know, we did go through a period of like not drinking. Obviously, like social stuff had to be put aside for a little bit, just while I was growing. And the hardest thing was leaving the fear of missing out, FOMO, right? You know, all of your friends are doing this and stuff like this, and they weren't aligning with my morals anymore. And to let go of that was extremely hard, man. Like that's huge. Like, again, with girls and stuff like that, you know, you're sacrificing things like this, and that was extremely hard to sort of say, you know what, the next 6 months or next however long the program went for, I'm going to just focus on me. I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to grow, and I'm going to become a better self so I can bring my better self out. And so to put your life basically on hold while you're self-discovering, extremely scary. Extremely scary.
So before we get into that, I'm actually just going to really quickly turn my potatoes off in the oven. I forgot that I had them on. Hang on. Right, they're off. Right. So the next question.
Yeah, man. Those potatoes got a bit.
Potatoes are on. Yeah.
So good.
So the next question that I have was, what were any of the specific moments? So that's kind of what happened in the first program, right? And then you basically got really lean for Ninja Warrior, jumped on with Ninja Warrior, had that, and then you're like, look, I want to go ham into this program again and like dive deep. So you had... Sorry, did you want to say anything there?
Yeah, I want to say why I want to do this program again.
Okay, yeah.
If that's all right.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that's cool. Because, again, what I want to try and tell your listeners and stuff like that, like, yes, I had a purpose to get lean, get shredded, but when I was disciplined enough to follow your schedule, follow your program, follow your meditation, journal writing, man, I found out a lot about myself. Happiness became apparent just everywhere. And I was focusing on good on everywhere. Like, I'm a very positive person, but I was a forceful positiveness. Like, I got to think positive, I got to do this. And I was so happy always, right? But then it hit me, I think it was about week 6, and it just like it blew my mind. I think I texted you.
What was the moment for that? How did that come apart? How did that come?
The moment was like, oh man, I'm getting good. Look at that, I'm getting goosebumps. It was an amazing moment. So like, after about 6 to 7 weeks of, again, like completely transforming my life and thinking differently, I was doing my walks in the morning. And I'm just walking and I'm smiling and looking at this stuff. And I just see this like family like on the beach just playing with their dogs. And it was such a just raw, unedited, just in the moment with that whole family. And I remember just walking past them and I'm just smiling. Like I'm smiling like from cheek, like you know, fucking what's the guy's name? The Joker, man. Literally just smiling, and I'm just like vibing everything. Like everyone that's walking past on their runs, and everyone's like fitnessy, and I'm just like, yes, like I'm just in the moment.
You're present as fuck.
I'm present as fuck. Man. And then like hit me, I was like, wow, like I'm not trying to be happy. Like it's just there.
It's just a result.
And then the result of internal growth, man. So that for me was like, wow, like that's pretty powerful to have. Yeah.
What books were you reading at that time?
What books was I reading, Corey? You gave me a couple. Superior Man. I read that one a couple times. And then I was reading a couple, like, obviously investment properties and stuff like that. I'm obviously into that. But mental toughness as well by
Man's Search for Meaning.
And A Man's Search for Meaning by
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl.
I remember you were very hesitant to read that book.
Well, that was a hectic book, man. You know, he's in Auschwitz and he's dealing with all that kind of stuff. And when you first told me to read that, I sort of read the whole biography about him and sort of deeper sort of stuff behind him, and it was hectic. It was hectic. I was like, do I want to read that kind of stuff?
Yeah, and I remember you said to me, you were like, oh, bro, I want to be focusing on positive stuff, not negative things. And I was like, just wait, because you really have to, I believe in, I guess, facing off with your dark side and accepting it and basically giving it a really big hug in order to integrate it into yourself, so then you can transform and be like the best version of yourself, because you're aware of those things. And if you integrate those things and you're not shy about those things, then it can be obviously a force for power for you, which you extremely embody, which is great. So when we started the second program, when you were through there, what were some of the, I guess, either other struggles or other moments when you were like, all of this stuff is seriously working for me?
To be honest, the second program, I felt no near as... I was more content in growing further. Like, I saw the results from the first one and I wanted to excel that. So I took in the second wave of you hardcore. You know, I was like, give me the books, you know, give me the knowledge. Let's go one step further. And this goal wasn't actually to get lean, which is crazy. You know, the first one was like, Corey, get me shredded. And the second goal was like, make me alpha. Make me like the most elite specimen, mentally, physically, as you can. And that just kept growing and growing and growing internally.
And as a part of that, a lot of confidence comes, like, for some people get confidence differently. And yours is definitely, like, myself is looking really good. Like, in my body, I like to look good naked. For me, that brings a lot of self-confidence.
Oh, definitely.
And as well, for men, the leaner you are, the higher your testosterone is. So if you get lean and you got higher testosterone and you're eating really healthy and you're doing those things, you feel fucking
amazing,
great.
Man. Fucking amazing. I just had to giggle because you're like, you know, the leaner you get, the healthier you get, your testosterone goes up. I just had to giggle then because, man, it was hectic.
Nice. So what were some of the biggest growth points with all the stuff that you were doing?
the biggest growth point I can literally single down 100% to this day is not relying on external validation from work or girls, especially. Like, I struggled a lot with girls, as you know.
Yeah. So how did we get into that? What were some of the moments in the program for what were you doing and what were we saying to each other for you to go, oof, that was some external validation. I had to face off against that. Oof, that was the thing was a girl. Can you talk about any of those experiences? Do you remember any of those?
Yeah, I do. So a lot of stuff that we spoke about and what we documented was like when an external factor would come in, I would basically write about it and see why am I feeling this way.
Yeah.
And a lot of what you pushed me to do was always ask the question why. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And that might sound stupid, but you know, if you say like, oh, this person did this and it made me feel this way. Well, why did it make me feel this way? Then why did that make me feel this way?
Yeah.
And then why are we doing this way?
Yeah.
And then you do that why, and you get to the root cause analysis of saying, you know, the reason why I'm feeling this way from all these external factors is because I'm either not confident in myself or I'm not sort of at the level I want to be in, or, you know, a mixture of things, but it really came down to me accepting that I'm not where I want to be at the moment, or I want more growth.
Yeah.
And that was huge.
Yeah, cool. Can you talk about any of the experiences you had with any girls specifically?
I won't name names, but definitely, definitely, I don't want to say commitment issues, right? But like, I'm always the person that's really wanting to like strive to be the best person, right? And I want to have the best partner as well.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, you know, you go through this rabbit hole and like, do I commit, do I not commit and stuff like this. And then once, you know, they start drifting away and stuff, right? Because you can't commit. You're like, no, I want that again because I'm seeking validation from that person, right? And that's extremely hard thing to cope because, you know, like, and I'm not trying to be a dick to these girls and stuff like that, but it's really, really hard to sort of open yourself up. And then when you open yourself up and they sort of go away, you're like, what's going on? I feel lost. And that was really hard.
So you were kind of chasing for a negative point of view to fill yourself up.
100%, man.
Yeah. And I guess ask the question, do you know what skill you got really good at that helped you with that?
Yeah. What skill helped me was with this self-prep, I became more confident in who I am.
Yeah.
And it's the raw, unedited Rob.
Yeah.
And what I am super, like, this was, again, obviously months ago when we did this course together.
Yeah.
But what happens now is, like, I'm not expecting anything from anyone, right? I'm just being myself, my authentic self. And this whole, do I want this person? Do I not want this person? It's almost gone. It's like, I'm going to be me.
Yeah.
You're going to take it or leave it. And it's not a bad thing. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be myself. I'm not going to hold back. And that has completely dissipated the whole, like, external validation thing because I accept that I am who I am.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, that is completely fine. Yeah. You can do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Yeah. So some of the skills that come up in my mind as far as like what actually got good at that to be able to, I guess, dissolve yourself from that type of situation was actually doing the meditating.
Yeah.
You got strong. You got good at being extremely present, so you could ask the question why all the time because you were good at being present in the here and the now.
Yeah.
And with meditating, you're focusing on your thoughts all the time.
Definitely.
And what happened was you were doing these things, and what happened was these thoughts would pop up. And obviously, we're not our thoughts. Our thoughts are completely random.
Correct.
And the thought would pop up into your mind, and then you just go, okay, why? And then, okay, why? Because in meditating, you acknowledge your thoughts and then you get back to meditating.
Correct.
And that's the whole point of it. When people think that they're meditating, they go, oh, it's too hard. I get distracted the whole time. It's like, you're meditating. That is it. It's the whole point of it is to be getting distracted.
Correct.
And then coming back. And then the second part of that is just the journal writing. So when you're writing down all your things at night time or in the morning, you're learning all of these different things and just getting clear for all the stuff in your mind. And that's what I think is like the most important thing that anyone can ever do is just get extremely clear, precise on whatever vision they need at that point of time, and getting like super clear on that is like crazy important. So what were some of the things as well? Because obviously we do a lot of things in the program. Tell us more about, you know, what you were eating, how you were training, all the rest of it.
Yeah. So again, previously to, you know, I was doing keto, which is good, you know, it's time and place for everything. But then you come in here and the first thing you said to me is like, oh, you got to eat more. I was like, what? Man, like, what are you talking about? I'm trying to get shredded. Like, you need to eat more. He's like, yeah, man, you need to eat more. So, and the foods you brought to the table is such a holistic approach to health. It was insane. I still remember that chicken schnitzel I had after, right? And it tasted like shit. So it was insane. So
dive into that. Tell us about that real quickly. Okay,
yeah. So obviously Corey's program is a very holistic approach to eating. You know, very nutritious food.
Yeah.
You know, grass-fed meats, good salmon. You know, a real balanced, non-preservative, no sugars. Like it's just really wholesome, good food.
A fucking shitload of veggies.
So many veggies. I think I was eating a kilo and a half a day of veggies, and I loved it. You know, all the right spices.
Rob had these huge tubs. You guys didn't know he had these absolutely massive tubs of just veggies, and he's just like, like eating them like
Snapchats and you go from meeting to meeting, just smashing it.
Yeah, just smashing these huge veggies.
Oh,
yeah.
But obviously your body gets acquired to that taste, and it's just raw, good food, and like. Everyone's like, oh, you're going on a diet. This wasn't a diet, man. This was just good food.
Yeah.
You know, it tasted amazing.
Yeah.
I was cooking barramundi with veggies and, you know, spices and stuff. And everyone's like, oh, that's not a diet. I was like, exactly. It's just good food. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And my taste buds just thanked me so much because it was good.
Yeah.
And, you know, you cook on dates as well. And, you know, girls are impressed by a bit of salmon and veggies. It's good. But, I remember after doing that whole course with you and then after Ninja Warrior, I was like, Corey, I cannot wait to have a chicken schnitzel and a beer and stuff. He was like, oh man, you deserve it. Go for it.
That's not what I said.
I think you did.
I was like, be careful.
You did, yeah. And then I remember...
I was like, you're going to hate it.
You did, I didn't believe you. I didn't believe you.
Yeah. So, give a bit of water over the face there, mate.
Right there.
Yeah.
But I remember... Yeah, the first bite, I was like so keen for this chicken schnitzel. I was like, yes, I've been waiting for this for so long.
Yeah.
And then I dove into it. That first bite was like, where's the flavour? Like, whoa, what is this crap, man? I'd rather cook a big ass steak into some good veggies, and it's just like the most anticlimax, disappointing meal of my life, man. it was, yeah. Yeah.
Do you have any other moments of when you were like eating other foods every time you try to eat? Because I know you talked to me a few times. You'd be like, oh, I try to eat this or try to that, and every time you're just like, fuck, that was shit.
It was, man.
Yeah.
Like,
do you remember any others?
Nothing to that degree of that first chicken schnitzel, because that's when I was like, wow, like that's how bad the processed crap is that we're eating.
Yeah.
And this is how good food should taste.
Yeah.
But you know, every time you go out for a few drinks with mates or this or that, at every single pub now, I'm just like, you know, the food, I'll eat it if I'm in the sitting, but it just doesn't taste good, man.
Yeah.
It just doesn't taste good.
What about olive oil?
Oh, don't talk to me about olive oil. You know my addiction to olive oil.
Yeah. No, you're the worst.
Yeah, olive oil, man. It's
What's the good olive oil versus bad quality?
Cold pressed olive oil is the way to go, especially from central markets that we go to.
House of Health, yeah.
House of Health, man. That is good quality olive oil.
It's just a fresh, local pressed, but a high olive content.
But you can taste the difference as well, man. Like going from just your standard, brands, whatever, but your standard mediocre olive oil to having some fresh cold pressed olive oil. It's completely like game changer.
Yeah.
Huge game changer.
Love it. All right. So what were some of the lessons? What were like what would you say would be like the 3 best lessons that you learned throughout? And do you have can you remember the exact point at which you had those? Like, or even what would be like the 3 biggest epiphanies that you had?
3 biggest epiphany was definitely what you put into your body matters. Comes to like nutrition is key. You know, health is wealth. The better you feel, the better your body's fueled, the better you think, the better you focus, the better you act, the more physically better you are, everything.
Yep.
So for me, you go on.
What were you doing for that?
Eating well.
But what were you eating specifically?
Okay, so I think on your program, every morning I have like a green salad. So like cucumber, capsicum, cans of tuna, a lot of Celtic salt, a lot of olive oil, red cabbage.
Yeah.
You know, leafy greens like kale and spinach and stuff like that. So that was like my breakfast.
Yep.
And then throughout the day, my meals were probably about 300 grams of mixed veggies, spices or whatever.
What kind of veggies?
Asparagus, there was broccolini, there was red cabbage, there was Brussels sprouts, there was capsicum, there was a lot of veggies, man. So what else was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the majority of it.
Yeah.
So about 300 grams of that, plus, you know, 160 to 200 grams of barramundi, or a grass-fed steak, or what was it? Also kangaroo mince.
Yeah.
See, that was really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were basically my meals, and then your pancakes, man. your pancakes were so good.
Yeah, we got me there. All right, so we got 1, the healthy eating. Health is your wealth, because it just affects everything that you're doing,
Yeah.
what would be the second biggest epiphany?
Being present, man. 100% being present. So through meditation and stuff like that, you know, your mind was wandering, you know, am I good enough here? Am I doing this? And then you bringing me back to being more grounded through meditation and asking those why allowed me to be more present in the moment. And that is amazing. You know, like I said, when I was walking the beach and I could just take it in at the moment, that's a beautiful thing, man. That's such a beautiful thing. And it's life-changing.
Yep. So 2, present.
Yeah.
What would have been the third one?
Discipline, baby.
Yep.
Discipline.
Why is that?
I think discipline is a huge aspect for anyone in life. Like if you want to achieve goals, if you want to, you know, set yourself aside from the rest, or if you want to go to that next level, discipline is key. 100%. Like if you set a goal, you know, you have to say no to people, you have to disappoint people, you have to hurt people sometimes to achieve.
I wouldn't say it's necessarily, remember, we did stuff, it wasn't necessarily hurt people or disappoint people. We were going through of just learning the things. This is one of the things that we did huge in the program, was learning things to say as nice as like possible that we could to people in order to just like decline something, because people love someone. Like, I don't know if you've ever been, I find this a lot, like when I'm at a party or social situation and it's like, shit, I have to say goodbye to everyone now, they're going to hate me for leaving. Because a lot of time when you're out, social pressure, like, nah, stay, and you have to be like, no, you hate saying no all the time. But what I recognize myself personally was, me and Rob have a lot of conversations, is that people like people that come up to you and say goodbye. Like, he's extremely nice. He come up and he said goodbye to me. I love that guy. Always says hi, always says goodbye. It leaves a really good impression. Yeah. And I remember with you, with some of the things that you had to do in your job, work and stuff like that, in social situations, in romantic situations, was we were going through things in order to learn how to say.
Non-violent communications. Another book that you told me to read, which was life-changing, because that was, like I said, discipline is one thing, but having the skill set to basically have a conversation with someone to get what you need or to better the situation is huge. Yeah. And there was points which you saw and heard about. Yeah. At work was very stressful. Yeah. And I was sort of entangled in all this commotion. I couldn't figure out the best way to communicate with a few people. And, you know, with guidance through you sat me down and explained, these are the reasons why, you know, this is what you should be doing, this is what's internally happening, and this is how you should be communicating based on these values. Yeah. And it was amazing. Yeah. That was a game changer as well.
Well, that's sort of to be the most, you know, elite optimized person of yourself. Like, if you want to have those leadership capabilities, if you want to, you know, be your best self, like, communication is obviously one of the biggest things that we could ever learn. Yeah. And in the book Nonviolent Communication, thanks for Lee Ryan for sending that out for us. Ooh. For a for a recommendation, because I went hard into that book. I've read it a couple of times. Yes, extremely good book, but it just kind of explains the expression of need. So what does this person actually need? Yeah. What's their situation? Let's dive into those. So using a bit of emotion and intelligence for, okay, what do I know about myself? What am I aware? And then let's put myself in this other person's shoes, and what could they be aware? What's their situation? Correct. What are they stressed about? What are they under? Like, they might be more difficult for them to be as present as possible at the moment because of all the pressures on them, but I can be extremely present here.
Correct.
So if I can think about what needs they have, and I can think about the needs that I have, a lot of the time how we're communicating is I'm saying 2 + 2 is 4, and you're saying 3 + 1 is 4. Yeah. We both want the same result. There's just different ways of going around it. So then they express, you know, you figure out their needs, and then you figure out your needs, and then you go, okay, how can I express this as best as possible without coming across like a dick, without being impatient, without being these things. And we're all working on these. I'm working on these like myself as hard as possible.
Thing.
Because it's hard.
It's a daily thing, man.
It is an extremely it's a daily thing. So yeah, you got a bit out of that.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was another critical thing where, because obviously I'm very passionate about my work. I love my work, and in construction management, you got to talk to people. You got to have those hard conversations. And like you said, this person wants 1 + 3 = 4, and I want 2 + 2 = 4. We both want the same thing. Yeah. But the way this person's thinking is different to the way I'm thinking. But it's understanding, putting my ego aside, saying my way's the best way. Not necessarily. Let's have a civilized conversation. Yeah. Let's open up. Yeah. And let's get to the end resolution the best way possible. So to put your ego aside was hard for me, because that was extremely, extremely beneficial.
So yeah, that was extremely beneficial. And just coming back to it, so for discipline, what were the things that you were doing to keep you as disciplined as possible?
So I set a routine. So obviously fitness is a big aspect of my life. So I would be gymming, 6 times a week. which was obviously a non-negotiable for me. But the thing that was a huge discipline for me, like I'm a very social person. I like to go out, have a few drinks here and there, and do a lot of like social events. During that point, I really had to sort of just really focus on myself and cut out the alcohol, stick to a diet plan, stick to this holistic approach of, meditating, journaling. And a lot of people didn't agree with that. And for me to say, well, hang on, this is where my values are at the moment, so I'm going to have to stick to it. And there were some times where, when I'd text you saying, oh, Corey, I went out and I had a couple of drinks and I ate that, and, you told me to forgive myself but understand why. You always said help me through it, but...
Dive into that a little bit more, because some people might need to listen to that, because as far as if you're dedicated or you have big dreams and big ambitions, it's not like you have to sacrifice anything per se, but you may have to live a little bit differently and live in like that. You have to start living in the person's shoes who you want to be, right? And to do that, you have to learn all of the little extra skills of the things that we are doing.
Yeah, definitely.
So when things come up for you in social situations and the rest of it, is there any specific examples that you can remember, either when you actually said had to decline, or you go leave early, do something like that? Can you remember any of those examples?
Yeah, there was a couple engagement parties and a couple big celebrations, which I obviously wanted to attend to.
Yeah.
And, on those celebrations, you normally get pissed and you do the things and you go wild and stuff like that. And this was basically at the end of the program where I felt comfortable enough to basically go to those things, have a great time and not need to, write myself off because I had stuff to do the next day. I was very disciplined. So...
do you remember the conversations that you had? Like, how would you actually say it? Like, if someone was said to you, like, oh, come stay, or why aren't you drinking, or come have a beer with us, or this, what would you actually say?
Yeah, it was an easy conversation, because after dwelling into myself and what my goals were, it became so easy to be that raw, unedited Rob and be like, hey guys, like, I'm not drinking tonight. Like, oh, why not have a few beers? Like, no, I'm doing this, this, and this. It became so easy. And it became... But at the start, do
you remember exactly what you said, though? Do you remember, like, saying you're doing this? Were you just like, oh, I'm just running a program at the moment? Like, what? Do you remember?
I said, like, I think I used Ninja Warrior as an excuse, obviously. I was like, oh, look, I'm trying to get lean for Ninja Warrior. I'm doing this. I'm trying to follow this diet plan. It's like, oh, one beer's not going to, one beer's not going to make you fat. So I'm like, yeah, one beer won't make me fat, but I've committed to a program. I'm going to stick to the program.
You're obliged.
So...
They said the same thing for the second time, was actually booking in the event for a photo shoot. That's one thing that I said with Rob. I was like, what we need to do for your program to keep yourself accountable, to give you... I like to say this a lot, is to give yourself the right excuses to stick to something.
Yeah.
Instead of using excuses as... oh, I can't do this or I can't do that because I feel tired today. Like that could be an excuse. Let's use excuses in the opposite way and be like, okay, I have a competition. I have a photo shoot booked in. I've got this. So I can say, use excuses in a positive way to say committed to something that you've set your mind to.
Definitely.
Where that increases discipline like crazy. Like, so for the second program, Robbie booked in a photo shoot.
Correct.
And what helped his discipline there was having that photo shoot. And this is like so important. Like, this is such like taking backstepping stuff. So if a lot of people out there are struggling to stick to something, they can't do something or whatever it is, it's like, if you put yourself in a goal and you have the event booked in and you have the date booked in and you've paid for it for whatever it's going to be, then your discipline goes up extremely high because of your excuses. Now, I do remember Jordan Peterson says like a bunch of stuff as well, like, to like, how do people would used to, like, back in the day, you'd throw a javelin or throw something to hit an animal, right? Well, the animal was a target. So it's like, if you don't have a target, when you throw something, what are you going to hit?
It's not going
to go anywhere, right? So if you give yourself like your own little target, that is going to extremely help with discipline.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we do.
I completely agree with you, because actually, good thing that you remind me, because having... A lot of people say like, oh, why'd you book a photo shoot? I was like, oh, I set a goal within 12 weeks time. I wanted to look a certain way. I want to feel a certain way. And I've got skin in the game.
Yeah.
I booked in a photo shoot. I paid the money. And it's not necessary to do modeling or this or that. It's like, I've got a goal.
Yeah.
I've got an end date.
Yeah. Let's
work to that end date.
Yeah.
And he was, by far... Yeah, go on.
It's the best.
I was my sentences.
I was about to say something. One of the main important things that come out of that as well, and having a goal, is like, if you want to grow or transform anyway, like regardless of what it is, with the stuff that I like to do, it's like, obviously your mind and your body, there's no difference. I like to believe the exact same thing. Like anxiety and depression is just is a cut on the skin, but in your mind.
Yeah.
Right. And as part of setting yourself like a physical, mental goal, whatever transforming you want to do, if you have a goal, what happens is, I like to say, is busy people get stuff done. So if you talk to someone, you know someone who's getting stuff done all the time, and you need a favor to be asked done, oh mate, can you please help me? If you know someone's got time all on their hands all the time, they're not doing too much all the time, man. It's like, they probably won't rock up because they're not as motivated as someone who is. So if you have that goal as well, one of the other side effects is that it's not just, I'm going to be walking, I'm going to be trying to get lean, I'm going to be eating well, I'm going to be doing this other stuff. It's, I can get in all these other little things for whatever works as best as possible for someone, whether it's recovery stuff, whether it's mindset stuff, whether it's learning and growing. All of the things compound, and you learn as best as possible when you have a day for something. You grow as best as possible. You get really good at focusing things internally once you're doing all of this stuff, because everything's working in a holistic approach, like as you were kind of saying beforehand, because it's not just your body, it's the mind as well. So it's the food that you eat is contributing to obviously how you're going to look and how you're going to feel.
Right.
The exercise that you're doing is contributing to how you look and how you're going to feel. The meditating is contributing to how you look, how you're going to feel.
It's so united.
So it all happens. Same with the journaling and all the rest of it. And also at that time when you're doing all those things and your body's extremely healthy and you're exercising and stuff, your hormones are better and your brain is more neuroplastic. So it's more open to receive feedback and learn things and do different things. So just having one little thing like that and going through a 4 or 5 month period of having some sort of thing booked in and you're working as best as possible, you have just short-tracked or fast-tracked, I could say, fast-tracked all of this crazy amounts of learning growing into this short period of time.
Yeah.
And it's all just going to be working so good for you. So by the time you've got to that date, you've just done like 2-3 years of growing as if you didn't set that thing or you didn't reach out to that person or you didn't do that stuff.
And it's insane that you say that, because I cannot agree with you more, because even though I said, all right, photo shoot on this date here, me being disciplined, achieving those little ticks here, little ticks here, little ticks here, that's rippled effect through my work, relationships, friendships, my family, that rippled everywhere. And, people saying, how do you have time to do this, this, and this? Like, you make time. I'm committed, I'm driven, I'm motivated. Like, I was unstoppable. My work just went up. Like, it just, everything
limitless
was
people. We cracked the code, bro.
Yeah, man. And everyone's like, how do you have time to run in the morning and then exercise and, stay so healthy, but you still go out and see people? It's like, it's just ticking, man. I'm just optimal.
Yeah.
It just felt right.
Yeah. There's one of the things as well that in the book The Untethered Soul, what they talk about is that, I can't remember Michael A. Singer was the author, and what he discusses is that when you think about energy as well, right? So there's another sort of spiritual energy, right? And think about it. Let's just say you're chilling on the couch and you're talking to a girl that you really like, whatever, and you haven't talked to her for a while. You're eating healthy and whatever, you're doing some stuff, and usually you're quite an energetic person. And let's just say, for example, you're chilling on the couch and you're like, oh, I've got no energy, I'm just going to be lazy for a moment. And then she messages you something really nice or something like about to catch up and you haven't met her yet and you're extremely interested in her. All of a sudden, you're going to jump up, holy fuck!
Yeah.
I have so much energy! Yep. Oh my God! So that doesn't come in just for the girl situation. That comes for something if you're excited for life, if you're doing something that's close to your passion and your purpose or something like that. You just get filled with all this energy.
I want to sort of dive into a little bit deeper there as well. Because obviously my nickname that you give me is Love Bug.
Yeah, Rob's a love bug.
And that's definitely, obviously, that's just my personality. I love to see people that I care about happy. And
you just love to give love, bro.
I love to give love. And, there's been heaps of aspects when I'm feeling really, really good, like so good about myself, like work's going well, my fitness is going well, I just feel so good. I need to leak how I'm feeling to other people to bring them up. And that's what you said to me as well. Like, we have a standard and a responsibility to bring the people that we care about up. And I cannot agree with you more on that one. Like, there is times where I just send random acts of kindness to my friends or other people and just say, like, you are an amazing person. You're doing well. Like, you might be having a bad day, but, you got this, and this going for you. And guess what? They text back or they ring back to say, like, you've just changed my whole day. I've just uplifted someone just from a single nice gesture because I'm feeling good. So it's my responsibility to bring others that I care about around me up. And I think when your body's working in such a holistic, healthy way, you can tap into your core self and you can give it.
When you fill your own cup up so much, you have so much left over.
Yeah.
to give to other people. But that first requires you being selfish
Correct.
in order to figure that out. There's also a lot of stuff that I like to do as far as path and purpose. Did you get clearer? I can't remember if we had any conversations, but did you get any clearer on like your actual path or purpose for stuff that you wanted to do to reach out on? And do you remember the growth of figuring out what that was?
Yes. So I felt like I was dabbling everywhere. I didn't know really a concise direction I wanted to go in.
Shiny object syndrome.
Shiny, I'm 100% like, this looks cool. I'll dabble in here. Oh, this looks cool. I'll dabble in here. And like I was doing so much, and I was always so busy.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere.
Yeah.
And then obviously going through this meditation, all the journaling, you sort of
Fasting.
fasting, all the disciplinary things. Your mind starts narrowing into a more specific, raw direction which you are more passionate about. And I definitely feel so much more clear on the direction I'm taking.
Yeah. What is it?
Well, like as in career-wise, or like
just your path and your purpose. Do you know what it is?
Purpose. Well, I guess
why are you here, Rob?
Why am I here? To uplift people, to give people knowledge and understand how good this has made me feel.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the main reasons, is because I feel like I've got so much love to give, and I love bringing other people up. So the main reason why I'm here is to basically say, like, I want to transform people to feel this way all the time.
Yeah.
When I'm walking on that beach and just smiling at everything, everyone deserves to feel that way.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. Nice. I love that. So so you've done the programs, you've done all this stuff, you've worked on yourself heaps. You have done so much extra other work on yourself. It's like been nuts. Where do you think your biggest transformations have been? Like how are you now different from Rob a year ago?
I honestly think the difference is internal confidence. Okay. So, not saying like in an arrogant way on stuff like this, but for example at work, right? There'll be a huge argument or a huge discussion, or something needs to be resolved, or whatever. There's a scenario going there. And I remember like a year ago, like I'll get it done, but I would have a mediocre conversation, or I'd be like, okay, well, this needs to be done this way, or whatever. And then someone say, no, it can't be done that way. Like, oh, yeah, okay, we'll do it this way. Now, I'm so much more confident in my abilities as a person that say, hey, mate, this needs to be done. And it's not in a mean manner, but it's in a more direct, forward conversation. There's no bullshit. There's no like, is he going to like me? Or like, if I say it this way, he might not respect me. It's more like, I've got a job to do. Yeah. And I'm confident in myself to get the job done. And this is how it's going to be done, because I trust myself to put it forward that way. Yeah. And you might not like the way I'm going to do it, but it's the best way it's the best way to do it. Yeah. And we are either going to disagree or agree. And if we disagree, let's have a conversation. But I'm not going to back down the way I think it is. Okay. So you trust yourself. I trust myself. How has that shown up in other areas other than work? I guess with females, I guess. Another one there is obviously being more confident in yourself and who you are as a person. Yeah. There's no holding back. You can have conversations with people, and I'm not now changing the conversation to suit their disciplines or suit their lifestyle or suit them. Okay, so you used to find yourself adapting. I was a chameleon. Yeah. Okay. I was a chameleon, 100%, man. And how so? Do you have any examples? Because some guys or girls might be listening and might be able to actually understand. Yeah. That like, okay, you're talking to someone, you have a romantic interest or a sexual interest with the person, and then you meet up with them, and what would you just start saying things like, they say something and you go, oh yeah, I'll do that too. Or yeah, I'd like to do it too. But really you'd be like, no? Is that sort of the things that you wouldn't? A little bit like that. But I'd say it's more of a progressive thing. Like obviously you meet a girl, you start liking them, you start vibing, and then like obviously they got different goals and different ambitions, and I would be changing the way I would talk or basically interact and do stuff which are not necessarily aligned with my morals to keep that person interested in me, because guess what? External validation, baby. And that made me feel good that person likes me, even though I'm dying slowly inside, because they're liking me, but I'm changing me. Who you are. It's who I am. So now it's completely different, man. Yep. And it's an amazing thing, and I feel like they appreciate it more as well. Like if I can be myself, it's not like saying, oh, let's do this. Like, nah, screw that. I hate doing that. It's not like that. But it's more like the energy you put out. They can see it. You know, you want to do this, and this, and they appreciate that. And if you're meant to vibe, you're meant to vibe. If you don't, there's nothing wrong with that. It just kind of seems like, it's honestly you just changing and adapting yourself to make that person
try to like you.
Yeah.
Is basically what it was. So you were doing a whole bunch of things instead of, and now the difference is that it's not a matter of fact of, oh, you are you, and or it doesn't matter if we don't vibe, we do vibe. It's just like, this is just who I am.
Exactly.
And this is what I'm doing. And now you don't have that, oh, I need to change him for that person's like me. It's like, if I just be me, they'll probably like me anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's exactly it. And that's what allowed me to sort of unlock that sort of love bug thing. You said, like, I just love to be happy around good people, man. And that's the true me. You know, I'm very disciplined. You know, I'm very motivated and driven at work, and I'm just super caring. Yeah. And I think that's me to a T. And once you understand that and understand who you are, it just magnifies, man.
And all of these things come from just doing all of these stuff here.
It's crazy.
And figuring it out.
It's crazy.
So what's your current routine like at the moment?
Current routine? Train. Well, it's actually pretty hectic, so...
Rattle it out.
It's pretty hectic, but it doesn't feel hectic. That's the... Well, before we rattle this out, I need to... Heck is.
Wet the lips.
I would probably wake up at 5 o'clock, maybe 4:45 every day.
Yep.
I would either go for a brisk walk for about 40 minutes.
Yep.
And then I would probably sit down, and then every morning I write my goals out. So like, I've got my 5-year goals, my 3-year goals, and my 1-year goals. So they're pretty ambitious, but 10x sort of rule. Yep. I'm pretty driven, and I'm pretty keen to tick those boxes. Yep. So every morning, write down my goals, and then I write down gratitude. So what I'm grateful for. Yep. 5 to 10 things I'm grateful for. And it could be as simple as sitting on the balcony having my coffee. It's just gets your mindset into that sort of super grateful, super happy sort of mindset.
Opens your heart up first thing in the morning.
Definitely. Yep. And then after that, I write abundant stuff. So like, there's so much out there. So like, that get rid of that scarcity mindset. So again, also leads to confidence. Again, for example, just with girls, if you're living that scarcity mindset, you're like, oh shit, there's only one person out there for me. No, there's abundance out there. Yeah. So that abundance mindset. So I do that every morning.
In order to find the one.
To find the one, yes. Yes. So then after that, I drive to work, man. Start work at 6:30, 6:45. Yep. I'm a construction manager. So they're pretty hectic days. At the end of stage 1, which you were aware of, I was probably doing 6:30 to 8:30, 9:30 at night. Like, they were big days. Yep. And you're still trying to fit training in there. You're still trying to fit your meals in there. You're still trying to be social. You're still trying to talk to people. Yeah. So it was pretty hectic. But at the moment, I'll be doing the morning ritual still go to work, and now I'll probably train around 5:30 every day, and then come home and work on my side hustles. Yeah. So nice. Yeah. And how so you get home at what sort of time, and you eat dinner straight away, and then you just get 7:30. Yep. Yeah. Probably get home around 7:30. Eat, and then probably work on, like I said, my side businesses, which you know of. Yep. Probably about 2-3 hours, and now try to read books. Just keep that mindset going. Yeah. Keep all that all that stuff going. Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think? What would be probably 1 or 2 of your most favorite things that we did in our program? The favorite things that we did. Yeah. To be honest, one thing I enjoyed most about the program was your support. Yeah. That was key to me growing, because obviously. There was a few times where you hiccup, or you do this, and I was scared to talk to you about it. Like, fuck. What was one of the first things I said at the start of the program? Be open. You can basically tell you anything. I said every time you slip up, just let me know for yourself. Not to have me say anything bad, because I slip up all the time. There's no judgment there. It's let me know, because once you actually, you're not scared of telling me for my reaction. You're scared of telling me to admit to yourself that you slipped up. Yeah. Right. So I was like, just let me know that you slipped up. I'm not going to say anything, but that's you, and then admitting it to yourself. And from that is where personal growth comes from. Huge. And that is exactly that. Because I remember it was like maybe 2-3 weeks out from Ninja Warrior, the program was going well, and then I went out to like a little festival thing, and like I was saying, no, I can't drink tonight, I can't have these donuts, whatever, and I slipped up, and I had like what'd you have? I had like oh man, a couple bottles of wine, just donuts, cream, and everything. I loved it at that moment, right? And I wake up, I was like, I don't want to tell Corey. I don't want to tell Corey. But then that was basically hiding the whole, like, taking responsibility for it. Like, if I don't tell Corey, he doesn't know, nothing ever happened. Sweep it under the rug type of thing. Yeah. And then I was like, nah, I got to tell Corey. Yeah. And then I told you. Yeah. And we had a conversation about it, and we both. That was one of the most pinnacle conversations we had. Remember about being that disciplined. I'm not sure if you remember. I do. You do remember. Yeah. Yeah. So this person would appreciate you and respect you more if you stood by your morals.
Yeah.
And I took back, and that was a huge catalyst again. Like, fuck, like that's a weaker Rob, not being disciplined. You know, being more disciplined is a superior man, and that was like. So one of the things which is crucial in your program is definitely your support.
Yeah.
Because again, that little simple conversation we had, again, another big growth. So.
Yeah, I like that because we were talking about it because I'm pretty sure you were out with a girl that night.
Yeah.
You were like on a date and she was like, "Oh, come have donuts with me," and the rest of it in order to like impress her.
Yeah.
And that was you adapting yourself.
Chameleon.
Being a chameleon.
Exactly.
Adapting yourself to impress her when that wasn't being
True to me.
Exactly. You weren't being 100% like authentic. So
And
that was...
sorry. No, that's what I meant with the chameleon sort of thing. Like, if you're raw and authentic to yourself, I would be like, look, man, I've got like a photo shoot in 2 weeks. I've got Ninja War in 2 weeks. Like, I can go a couple nights without drinking. Like, hold your horses sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think she would have respected that more than saying, yeah, okay, I'll have a couple glasses of wine. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was key.
Yep. Was there anything else that you thought was really good?
The program.
Yeah. Was there anything that you adapted out of all the little habits kind of thing? What would have been one of your favorites?
Journal writing and meditation.
Okay.
Actually, scrap that. I think the best thing about your program as well was you as a catalyst to keep this momentum in growing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'm now excited to read books. I'm now excited to grow as a person. I'm now excited to see what I can achieve. I'm now more interested in, you know, health and all that kind of stuff. Like, you were the catalyst and the support to grow.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
So sort of get the ball rolling for actually growing. It's one thing that I huge recognize. I really took it in. I can't remember where I was reading it and what I was doing. Obviously, read a whole bunch of old school philosophy and stuff, but it was just something little. Like, I think it was one of the CEOs of LinkedIn or something was just like, you are your absolute best when you're growing. And after reading a whole bunch of Friedrich Nietzsche books and reading a bunch of Fyodor Dostoevsky, it's kind of like when the ball stops rolling, who are you? You know what I mean? Like, you kind of lose yourself. And if you're not constantly on the momentum train and you're not on those things, then that's like that part, then you're sort of dead. Is like the word said, like, because you've come to a dead stop, right? Yeah. And then what happens is you're either moving forward or you're kind of starting to move backwards, because if you're stagnant, everything else is moving forwards and you're not. And that will make you kind of, it's kind of like you're walking down your path, and if you stop doing it, then you've just stopped on the path. And like,
but you're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere.
You're not going anywhere,
man. Which and what happens as a subject of that, and what happens as a result of that, as I should say, is that you start to feel a little bit lost. Like, shit, where am I going? But as soon as you start walking down the path again, it helps. And just by learning and growing the things that you don't stop on that path and you keep going down that path, and momentum keeps building, then you are going, like, you're going to be exactly who you want to be. Now, the thing is what to do to actually do that is to, my sort of watch thing, the things to actually do that is to learn and research and grow about things that are going to be beneficial to you.
Correct.
And things that are also difficult. So it's just reading certain books that are aligned with you in your life. It's reading books as well that are going to serve you, and it's learning and researching the things that you're interested in for who the person, whoever you want to be, actually is, and doing the exercises and the stuff, the rest of it, to figure out who you actually want to be, and the rest of it. Because I remember sometimes we'd ask questions. I'm like, okay, what would the future Rob do, or what would the best version of like Rob do to do these things in order to do it? So that's just kind of like a huge little takeaway as far as why you should, take time out of your day to actually just read some of the things that your best self would be reading, or read and learn some of the things in order just to keep that momentum going, so that you're constantly growing. Because we're not just growing these muscles. we got to grow. We're growing our brains as well. Obviously, Plato said, you don't want to be too much of someone who's just reading all the time, because you'd be more of a nerd. And you don't want to be someone who's too much of an athlete, because then you just kind of become too much of a savage. But if you bring those both together, then you kind of, you just open up to who you're best to be. So we should all be doing, I extremely think that everyone, like this happiness that you have is next level, right? And by doing that, all you're doing is you're doing weights for your body, and then you're doing weights for your mind. And you're doing them in a system that works for you, that you want to do.
Yeah.
And then you're getting clear on who you want to be, the impact that you want to have, and doing those things. It's the same as that hierarchy, the model that I've got. We've done all the physical stuff at the bottom. Then we get real confident, and we figure out where we want to be confident. Then we figure out what we want to do for stress. So doing those communicating things, figuring out the book. We get really good at meditating so we can acknowledge a bunch of things. Then we figure out in the relationships, what do we do, like you, giving out a whole bunch of love where you can, doing the rest of it. And then asking the question, you know, how much finance do you want to receive? What do you want to do? Like, how much money do you want to make? Do you need to make a change? Do you need to go out there in the big wide world and have an adventure? And then from there, it's like, okay, what hierarchy are you actually climbing? And what hierarchy do you want to climb? Whether it's your career, whether it's social, whether for whatever it is, what are you interested in? Are you interested in being a hippie? Is there a hierarchy there? Like, you know, whatever there is. Same with me for fitness. It's like, okay, I want to compete in the big competitions. I want to climb that hierarchy. And then it's like when you have that, you've done all those things and you figure that out and you're following down that path. It's like once you've come back from the journey, you should have all these skills and this knowledge and this input that you can have some stuff to give back. And one thing that, like, obviously I'm climbing this hierarchy, Rob is climbing this hierarchy, and we're doing it as best as possible in order to give back because we want to have that experience. We want to be that person. We want to be in that state and in that position where we can actually do that, because then we feel like we've actually accomplished something with our fucking lives. And then by the time we get to go and die, we can go, I fucking did it. See you later.
Man, you just hit the nail on the head right there. Oh, but I think, like, just quickly on that, like, the reason why I feel like so happy and fulfilled, and like you're always happy and fulfilled, is because of the progress. Like Tony Robbins said as well, like, progress is the key to happiness. You know, we don't become happy on who we become. It's the progress from point A to point B. It's who you becoming. Because you're never going to be satisfied.
We want to get to point B.
You want to get to point B. You may never get to point B, but as long as you're progressing, you know, on all aspects, progress is literally the key to happiness. As I was going through your program, as I was getting more disciplined, as I was getting fitter,
you were gaining a whole bunch of skills.
I was getting, you know, all these progress was coming.
And all different angles.
I was vibing, man. It was like, I'm becoming a better person, and I can give more to other people. That, my friends, is happiness.
It's kind of like, it's not actually getting to point B, it's getting 99.9% to point B. And one other thing that I'd like to say that we had as part of the program, which one of the things that we'd always say is either, you know, 100% commitment is super easy, and 99.9% commitment is
super hard, man. Super hard.
It's a fucking bitch. You got to be super committed, because whenever you're not committed about something, everything gets a lot harder. And you know, to get committed, it's doing those things, setting a goal, figuring out exactly what the goal is, and getting really clear and precise on that. So, was there anything else that you'd like to give as far as, like, the listeners, for any insight, I guess, into you? Okay, what would you recommend someone who is listening to do? But all the things we're doing, if you had just said the top 3 things or something like that, just what would be your best recommendation?
My recommendation is literally, like, obviously, you've helped me out a lot. And obviously, I'd recommend you to anyone. And I have recommended you to a lot of people.
Thank you.
Because the growth that I've seen in myself is you can't put a price on that. That's what I'm trying to explain to these people, is like, if you want to become more focused in and have more direction in life, if you want to become clearer, if you want to become healthier, if you want to become your optimal self, it's really take the time for yourself and, you know, screw the outside world for a while and just really dive deep into yourself.
How do you do that?
Through, get your program.
No. But without saying my program.
Without saying your program.
Because I will plug saying for the group coaching afterwards. But as far as
all what we spoke about, you know, meditation, reading books, self-growth, surround yourself with driven people, find out what's actually what you want to do in life. You know, ask those questions, why does this make me happy? Why does that make me happy? Really find out and spend some time diving deep into yourself and understanding yourself, and then, you know, do the disciplines that we've done. You know, if you want to get fit and healthy, you know, get a good diet, get a good regime. You know.
Remember, we did say as well at the start of the course, I did this exercise, which is a why exercise, and I kind of go, why are you doing the program? Then I make people answer that question 10 times. Why would this program be important to you? And you're like, well, I want to get healthy and fit. Why is doing that important to you? Well, being healthy and fit is going to make you more confident. And why is that important to you? Oh shit, why do I want to be more confident? I've got to think about this for a while.
And it's funny because like that first why you answer in 5 seconds, right? And then when you get to like the 6th why, you're like, I'm writing paragraphs, man. I'm writing paragraphs.
I was sitting here thinking for ages. Like, oh god damn, why is it important to me? Which is so, even that is just an exercise. I do that whenever I'm unclear about something, because I'll just write, why is this important to me? Why is this important to me? Why is this important to me? Why is this... Just keep answering on the back end of that and get really clear on it, because obviously clarity equals consistency, and with consistency you can change the fucking world.
Yeah, it's key.
Yeah. Cool. Well...
That was amazing, man.
I think we're at the end of it, guys.
Yeah.
So I'd just like to say, if you liked this video or you learned anything or you got pumped and motivated, please share. Chuck it onto your story. I would absolutely be so appreciative of that. I'd also like just to put a call out. At the end of this year, start of next year, I'm doing a group coaching. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of these things. If you like, just send me a DM, send me a message, just say, coaching or something like that. We'll book a phone call in and I'll discuss you for some of these things. And if you feel like you're going to be a part of it or you would like to be a part of it, then hey, we vibe out. If we talk about the things and maybe you're, or maybe I'm not vibing it, then that is completely okay as well. There is no things. If you're just interested, give us a ring or give us a message and then we'll organize a phone call or something like that. If you want to reach out to Rob, what's your Instagram?
Rob.Skibicki.
Right. How do you spell Skibicki?
Skibicki.
Cool. And if you have any questions, you can obviously sing out or ask, would you be happy to?
Of course, man. I'd love to, like, honestly, if you got any questions, if you got any sort of, like, if you're skeptical about this and this and this, come talk to me. Like, come DM me, because this has been life-changing. Like, the bottom line, throw the phrase out there, I'm completely different, and I'm so thankful and so grateful. So I can't recommend you enough, obviously, but, you know, if you can't afford it or do this or whatever, like, just speak to me, speak to Corey, and he'll help you out, because it's life-changing.
We get started on stuff anyway. If you guys haven't read Way of the Superior Man, if you're a male, then read that, and then male or female can read the book Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl, because that's quite hectic. They're definitely two real good starts, and then obviously start meditating using the Waking Up app, and which is a really handy thing to do, and maybe even start a weekly fast. That could become extremely beneficial for you too, as well. And maybe start trying to eat some goddamn veggies or figuring out how to cook those.
Tasty.
So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll leave you with a huge flex. Big flex. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Big flex, ladies.